We're going to start this puppy up. Clear, prop.
And welcome back to Tip of the Week. This week we are going to introduce you to an individual who is well known in the gyroplane community. He is a prolific builder, a scratch builder at that. This is the kind of person that the rest of us can learn a lot from. Whether you're building a fixed-wing aircraft or a gyroplane, the techniques and components are the same for both. I met Gyro Jake, as he is known, at this year's Bensen Days, held annually in Wauchula, Florida. This is a large gathering of builders and pilots of gyroplanes. Let's listen to Gyro Jake as he describes one of his custom creations that was flying at the show.
Well, yeah, it's a home-built gyroplane. Everything on it's handmade. If you have the time, the patience, and the knowledge isn't that important because you can go online, you go on YouTube, and you can find all these little trick channels to help you learn how to machine, how to cut, how to file. Your imagination is probably your limits, but there are certain rules and regulations on the physics of building one because they have to follow a certain technique of aerodynamics to make it capable of flying. But the project itself is more time consuming than complicated. Someone did a little research, had proper tools and equipment. They could probably build one of these at home in their spare time in a few months, maybe a year. So if you want to build one, do some research. There's a lot of web pages. We have an organization called the PRA, and you can find that at thepra.org, where you can get plans. There's a lot of information and people on the forums, like the Rotary Forum, and that would be the rotaryforum.com, and there's a lot of knowledge there. So basically a drill press, a saw, and a little sander, and some imagination, you could build your own gyroplane within a reasonable amount of time. And for aircraft builders or somebody that wants to, you have to remember there's differences. We have airplanes, we have helicopters, and gyroplanes. Gyroplane has a device for thrust called a propeller. Everybody's familiar with a propeller. And this gives us forward thrust. We also have a set of rotor blades like a helicopter that work very similar to a helicopter, except that we have a fixed pitch. We don't vary our pitch. And we have a seesaw rotor system, so it's a pretty safe device. And it develops lift from spinning, but they are freewheeling. There's no power transmitted to the blade in flight. We do use power to rotate the blade through the pre-rotator till we get up to a specific RPM that develops enough lift so it would be in auto rotation as we fly. So the difference between this and an airplane is not much in takeoff. In flight, the difference between this and a helicopter is not much other than the fact I can't intentionally fly backwards for a long period of time, nor can I hover. If I have enough wind, I can make it look like I'm hovering, but I'm being powered by the wind and the thrust of the engine. I also have a rudder like an airplane, so this will control the airframe in the direction it's pointed, and the rotor blades will take care of my right, left, up, and down. So I can fly sideways, I can fly straight, I can fly very slow, I can fly very fast. They're a smooth operating device, and they're fairly economical because the engines don't need a lot of horsepower. This is only a 50 horsepower engine, and it probably burns about 5 gallons an hour, and for a 2-cycle, that's not bad. You can get a 4-cycle engine that's a little more economical on fuel, but you can find these everywhere, and sometimes we convert snowmobile engines or whatever engine we need. So the rules on these are pretty lenient. You know, it's experimental. So we don't have to have certifications, we don't have to have inspections, we just have to take care of it ourselves. I would also like to add that gyroplanes are a lot of fun, and they're also pretty easy to build. If you have the tools, equipment, and a little bit of knowledge that it takes, I mean, every component on here I machined myself. The front end's homemade, welded up. I even make my own brake cylinders. These are not purchasable, readily. I had to make them myself. I make the pedals. I make the rotor pedals. The frame I cut, drill the holes. I do the machining for all the connections on this particular machine. I even devised the brakes a little different. These are cable operated brakes, and I made a hydraulic system that will actuate them. So if I push the pedal, you can actually see the cylinder push the brakes in. So I don't have all the cables and the pedal pulleys that I would need to operate that brake. So for me, it was simplicity. I even use motorcycle shocks. I go on eBay. I think I bought these for $25, and they work awesome. They're air shocks that go on a Honda motorcycle. This is just a piece of angle aluminum, 1/4 inch. I just cut it up. My imagination. That looks like a motor mount. Same with the pedals. So it's a piece of aluminum. I've seen foot pedals in it. So, I let my imagination run free, and I build everything from raw materials. I'll use some of the components from readily available gyroplane parts, but then I'll modify them for my own use and make all the parts myself. The rotor head, the gimbal, the brake, the pre-rotator. Everything on here is homemade and machined in my shop. The tail is homemade. It's a fiberglass composite tail. Got asymmetrical airfoil. So it seems to work pretty good for me.
It is wonderful to see a single-place gyroplane with a 2-cycle engine make the weight requirement for a Part 103 ultralight. Now, as that rotor starts spinning up to speed, keep in mind this is the only time that it will be powered by the engine. As soon as the pilot is ready for forward motion, those blades will be freewheeling without engine power. These spinning blades now act as a wing, providing lift if there is sufficient forward speed. This forward speed also keeps the rotor blades spinning. All engine power is directed to the propeller to move the ship forward.
Yeah, okay,
Can you
good.
back up?
Look at that, he stuck it.
Very nice.
Sometimes viewers will ask something like, so what is the tip for this video? The tip is that we are identifying valuable resources for your aircraft project. Let's summarize these right now. For gyroplane forums and information about anything regarding building these aircraft, we have rotaryforum.com and pra.org. For a wealth of information on building, visit Gyro Jake's YouTube channel. Simply search Gyro Jake in the YouTube search box. And for actual hands-on gyroplane observations, visit Bensen Days in Wauchula, Florida, always in April. Meet Gyro Jake in person and get all of your questions answered. And look for the link in the description below for a great video that Gyro Jake made that has been used by the TV media and will answer a bunch of questions about gyroplanes. Now, our time is best utilized when we are back to building.